Hey guys, I want to take the opportunity to recap the story of Space Pirate Captain Harlock 2013 in about 15 minutes. Of course, the recap is gonna miss out some details. I will only mention things which are crucial for the main plot. And after that, a few words about how I liked the movie. Let's dive right into it. Okay, the initial situation of the whole story is that humanity somehow made to survive all these things like climate change and all the other apocalyptic threats hanging in the air, like we know, and live to the day when they managed to travel faster than light. Of course, but were all these humans walking on itchy feet up to? They certainly went on journeys to exotic planets far away, and they apparently liked it on these planets, and they stayed and settled down. So far so good, all these new settlements prospered, but at some point things went south for them. What exactly happened is not mentioned, but I assume some kind of an overpopulation issue was involved somehow, and furthermore it was mentioned that all humans just couldn't feel home so far away. Bottom line, all puny humans made their way back to Mother Earth. There were too many souls for tiny little Earth, and exact figures 500 billions, and of course this can only lead to war, and it was called the Homecoming War. And this war was bloody and, like many conflicts in history, perpetual. And this brought a new multilateral, multinational political institution into the arena, the so-called Gaia Sanction. And them Gaia folks, they declared Earth as sacred. No puny human was allowed to set foot on Earth. And this band did what it was supposed to do. It ended the war and everything was awesome for now. Important to conclude and draw from the information so far, the Gaia Sanction was given the exclusive mandate to govern Earth, but this exclusive power made folks of the Gaia over the course of time somehow corrupt. But more on that later. One of the main antagonists of the Gaia is Isra. He's one of the main bad guys who is committed to hunt down our hero, Space Pirate Captain Harlock. And this guy is so obsessed, he even puts his little brother Yama in the line of fire. He asks him to infiltrate Harlock's crew, and Yama easily acceded to Isara's request to go on that dangerous mission. And let's just say this, Yama is bound to Isara for some reasons, but I don't want to go deeper into that family matter. Yama successfully infiltrated the crew of the Arcadia to get close to Captain Harlock, and his main mission objective is, which is revealed later on as well, to put an end of Harlock's command and to secure all the detonators Harlock stole from the Gaia Sanction earlier. A few words about our Captain Harlock. He is intended to put 100 detonators which he stole from the Gaia Coalition in place to unlock the so-called Nose of Time. He wants to achieve for humanity to be put back in time to a later point where they still lived on Earth. Charismatic Harlock managed to get his crew super hyped about his plans, and they follow him blindly. Meanwhile, Yama was charged to install the 99th detonator on some grim planet with K. And K, that's the lady in the latex suit. Funny side note, K sometimes feels the urge to horse around under the shaw for no apparent reason. Anyway, something went wrong. Yama ended up in a tight spot and Harlock was able to rescue him. Harlock successfully evacuates Yama off the planet's surface before they became crushed by an ugly space monster. But in the shuttle shortly before taking off, this happened. Harlock struggled to get the engines going. Yama all of a sudden found Harlock handed to him on a silver platter. Well, there it is, the opportunity to terminate the infamous space pirate. But Harlock somehow got a hold of it and convinces Yama to delay his assassination plans. He promises Yama to show him, well, let's put it simple, show him real freedom, as he puts it. What is a little vague for now, let's say. But okay. Okay, let's jump forward in the plot. Some chapters later in the story, Isra, along with his entire fleet, makes an attempt to destroy the Arcadia with a WMD called the Photon Converger. Well, at the end of the day, Isra's ship, the Oceanus, got captured by Harlock's Arcadia, and Isra was thrown into the brig. Now, a key moment in the plot. The Arcadia arrives at Earth, and while orbiting around the Earth, the whole story of our famous Captain Harlock unveils. First, it is revealed that the Earth was covered up by a hologram. In reality, all life on Earth was eradicated by dark matter. The whole crew of the Arcadia reacting literally in shock when learning the truth. They confront Harlock with his phony accounts and promises. In a flashback scene, it is told how Captain Harlock became space pirate Captain Harlock. Roughly 100 years ago, Harlock was serving in the military for the Gaia Coalition. As mentioned before, the Gaia put a ban on Earth in order to maintain a ceasefire in the homecoming war. Harlock was one of the captains of the Death Shadow fleet who patrolled the orbit around Earth with dark matter fueled ships similar to the Arcadia later on. Harlock served the Gaia obediently until the day when he realized that political elites of the Gaia took advantage of their power and settled on Earth despite their ban. This infuriated Harlock so much he killed these elites and unleashed through his alien companion Meme a dark matter storm on Earth. By that, he wanted to prevent further attempts to settle on Earth by other political elites. He thought, quote, "This injustice was just the beginning of the inevitable first steps of mankind retracing his path to a total destruction. Exposed to high quantities of dark matter, Harlock and his ship, the Arcadia, became what they are until this day. Cursed. And thus, finally, the infamous space pirate Captain Harlock was born." Following the flashback, it is mentioned what Harlock really had in mind with the detonators. He wanted to, what I believe, to set in motion a new Big Bang. So in other words, he never wanted to give humanity a new chance. He rather wanted to wipe out this humanity and yield the whole universe to a totally new humanity, if at all humans as we know them. Learning about Harlock's real plans, this left the crew and especially Yama in total disappointment. Naturally, some of them are feeling screwed and betrayed by Harlock.
Yama even to a point where he decides to rejoin Isura's outfit again. He becomes a key figure in a following surprising coup that take over the Arcadia. Yeah, Gaia Coalition managed to claim Harlock's cursed ship after all. What happens next? Of course, every pirate must hang. So these old customs remain the same with space pirates, only except for in the future, pirates get executed by a particle machine, which is the case with Harlock and his crew. They are locked up in the Arcadia waiting for the Undertaker to push the button. Okay, now we get to an element in stories which always ensure things to get all a little complicated. Women. After the coup taken over the Arcadia, the two brothers Isura and Yama have time to sit together for a chat. Okay, it appears they love the same woman and her name is Nami. Long story short, Isura accidentally killed Nami when she confessed to him at some point that she's got more feelings for Yama. Isura delivers the bad news, of course beefed up with a cover story of his own, blaming it on an unfortunate accident. Bottom line, Yama senses this story to be fake news and he becomes pissed and full of anger, and he flies to Mother Earth to get some comfort. And there he finds something that totally blows him away. Tender and fragile, a thriving flower. Not only this, he's walking upon a meadow of flowers, like the ones his past mother, a biologist, used to grow in her own greenhouse. Yama right away takes off, frees Captain Harlock, tells him about his new discoveries on Earth. And how does Harlock react? Of course, he gets emotional. Boy, does he get emotional. He says he finally found his freedom. Okay, after some small talk between the two, the crew and Harlock man the con of the Arcadia again and fly back to Earth. As soon as they arrive there, they begin to destroy all these devices necessary to maintain the hologram, revealing the true condition of Earth. In the meantime, Yama and his chubby companion of Harlock's made it to hack a communication channel of the Gaia and puts Yama live on air. Yama now on all public viewing screens, appealing in a rather philosophical way to all citizens to open their eyes to the truth, find their courage to view the reality. He refers to look upon Earth as it is. In the same context, he mentions something about freedom, the freedom all humans now can reclaim. Let's remember, the Gaia was only able to establish their power by upholding a ban on settling Earth, and their scheme also included to create a longing for Earth and all humans, which was virtually their element of control of all citizens. Yama asked them to break free from that restraint in order to gain real freedom. And furthermore, he fuels hope in everybody by showing the flowers thriving on the surface of Earth, his mother's flowers. Little side note, originally his mother wanted to find a species which could grow on Mars. Of course, that enrages the board of the Gaia, and they decide to put their most lethal weapon on the agenda, the Jovian Blaster, and things get really ugly now. Isura, filled with doubt over the decision to put the Jovian Blaster to use, sets course with the Oceanus, his flagship, on the Arcadia, which is still orbiting around Earth. He then orders to ram Harlock's cursed ship, and they end up drifting away from Earth. Isra knows the Gaia's hidden agenda. They're not only out for the destruction of the Arcadia, they're also out for the destruction of Earth. Now they seemingly want to vaporize all evidence to avoid a backlash, which would screw all their credibility at once. Isra is well aware of the limitations of the Jovian blaster. It can only lock on targets like spaceships, but not planets. And that's why he rammed the Arcadia in the first place, by trying to push her away from Earth in order to save Earth from the deadly beam. Whilst preparing their weapon of mass destruction number 1, Isra and Yama have some physical altercation time going on the bridge of the Oceanus. Captain Harlock works out a last-minute rescue of Yama by shooting Isra, which leaves him severely wounded. Yama is okay, except for the fact he received an injury in the face similar to the one that Harlock once received, and which later became his corporate identity. I'm talking about the scar he has in the face. Yama, a bit devastated about his brother bleeding out, takes Isra along to the Arcadia. Finally, the Gaia Coalition fires their deadly Jovian blaster, and a bright beam hits the Arcadia, but with the help of dark matter, she's able to withstand and is about to crash land on Earth. While approaching the Earth, Isra is able to see the lush meadow of flowers and feels one last time a little euphoric before he passes away. As soon as the Arcadia comes to a halt on the surface, Harlock installs the last detonator on Earth. Then he's aiming his gun at Yama and tells him that despite Earth is going to recover, a second homecoming war is inevitable. He hints only by unlocking the nodes all humans can be spared another bloodshed. Suddenly Yama points his gun at Harlock and says the flowers are a legacy of his mom, and he doesn't want to destroy them. In other words, he is against unlocking the nodes, destroying the universe as we know it. Harlock likes how he puts it, and hands him the trigger for the detonators. If a war should become apparent, he can still use the trigger as a plan B. And then he goes on, that as long as the universe is not resetted, the myth of Captain Harlock, a man who stands up against all corrupt governments and forces which threatens freedom in the galaxy, will live on forever. The symbol. By passing his eye patch on to Yama, he indicates that Space Pirate Captain Harlock is first and foremost an idea and a duty and not a person. And this symbol lives on perpetually. Okay, this was a quick recap of the story. Well, how did I find the flick overall? Well, let's say, despite a lot of negative reviews, I can say I really liked this one. First and foremost, I really liked the CGI. I am not a big fan of CGI animes and movies in general, but this one was more to my taste. Not only from a technical standpoint, also the art design was well done, well achieved and produced, and the producers made did a good job in transforming the appeal of the old series from the 70s into a modern CGI movie. On the downside, you have the plot. A lot of negative reviews criticized the film for its not so clearly laid out plot. And indeed, I can say in this department, I could also add, the story basically is pretty straightforward. It is probably not more than the classic Robin Hood-like rebel going against corrupt tyrants trying to destroy their nepotism, bringing justice among the people. But the script didn't really go in that direction. But probably the producers wanted the script to be like that. But I think that many viewers felt bothered by that while watching the flick. And that's mainly because the motivations of Captain Harlock lose itself in details which are not really easy to comprehend sometimes. For instance, the unlocking of the time nodes is and why he's doing that, why he is pursuing that goal, is not easy to understand in the beginning. This makes it difficult to create a Robin Hood themed movie. But maybe the intentions of the producers were totally different and I'm totally wrong. But feel free to leave a comment if you have a different diagnosis. But still, I really liked the movie. And first, I think the scripts of many other anime movies have similar issues, and I still like these movies. They still have enough appeal for me somehow. And second is the fact that the flick is really intense. I really like the mood. It just suits a movie which wants to be a space dystopia. And this makes up for all negative issues. Okay, what's the outlook of the franchise? Several sources in the internet suggesting that there will be a real live action of Captain Harlock being shown in theaters in 2020. I guess that date is a little too optimistic, but eventually we will see something. Because it is confirmed the rights for a real live action were acquired by Film World Studios, and that makes it pretty probable a new Harlock movie will be in production sooner or later. Well, concerning real-life adaptations, the typical anime fan audience is always very closely following what's going on, and these folks are overly critical. Well, let's hope whoever gets to direct it, I hope he or she will be competent enough in what he or she is doing, and I hope this movie will be one of the few adaptations which will go down in movie history. Okay, that wraps it up. And I say thanks and goodbye.